I'd like to call this meeting to order, and if you will, please follow me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. And our item number 3 would then be any citizen desiring to be heard. Not hearing any citizens desiring to be heard, we are off to item 4, consideration possible action approving minutes of April 15th, 2016.
I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And item 5, discussion and possible action concerning the county insurance programs. Review and discussion of Logan County workman's comp and property and liability insurance programs and options available through commercial insurance programs. Subject matter experts to attend are Mr. Richard Horton of Freights Insurance and Mr. Michael Stone of Midlands Management. And I would assume you're Mr. Horton? And you're Mr.
I'm the older one, he's the younger one. So,
Good morning. How you
Good
doing?
morning. Morning.
thanks for having us.
Chairman, Mr. Horton and Mr. Stone contacted me, and so I thought it was a good idea to have them come before the board, and because I knew we were looking for other options, or just wanting to review all our options available for our county insurance program. So, we appreciate y'all being here and taking an interest in the county. Thanks a lot.
That was an excellent idea, Marvin, and I do appreciate you gentlemen being here as well.
Thank you.
So, what do you got for us?
Couple ideas. Number one, I think probably the most important part was knowing that if we could give you alternatives. When you have options and the ability to choose, sometimes making sure that from a business standpoint you're putting the best foot forward. What Freighties Insurance has been around since 1929. Myself and 2 other guys bought it in 2010. In 2014, we merged with Acrisure, and I'll pass this out here in a minute. This is our Acrisure offices around the country. Part of that is Acrisure and now Freighties has a large book of business that deals with the municipalities. And I'm going to give you a list of those clients. Mostly New Jersey, Connecticut, Illinois, and obviously the intent is for us to expand our expertise within Oklahoma. So what we want to take is Acrisure's national presence within the industry and see if we can handle that and help you with that. Charlie Caldwell, who is the owner of Midlands, and myself have done business together for 40 years. Charlie could not be here today. Mike's here. Mike's specialty is the municipal side. And what we want to talk to you about is the possibility of a Lloyd's of London product, which we think could really give you some alternatives and not stay within the same parameters that you're dealing with within ACO. The London program will give the ability, we think, to give more flexibility and creativity on a program for your workman's comp, general liability, vehicles, anything and everything that you're doing within the county. It does take some work to gather the information, and that's the part that, as far as you can leave it status quo, leave it where it is, but with a little bit of gathering, we can come back with some alternatives for you. We put together a package to show you not only some of the highlights relative to the programs relative to that, but have also listed safety, loss control services that are available in conjunction with it, and then a list of the Acrisure clients around the country that have chosen to use that program. So I think probably more than anything else is cost is very important, but broadness in form is more important than just cost. We have to get not a cheaper product, but we need to be able to whittle it down to have the broadest coverage for the least amount of money, not the cheapest product. We can get any product cheaper by adding more exclusions. And that's the part that normally causes the problems. You don't find out about the exclusions until you have a claim and they say, yes, it said on page 1 it was covered, but on page 13 it wasn't. So the most important part is what's causing you heartburn, what's causing you problems not only financially, but exclusion or limitations within the policy. Any questions that we can answer as we sit here other than the ability to try to deliver alternatives?
What about the liability on like the jail and the sheriff's department and
Yes, sir. That's part of the program.
be part of it?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other municipalities or counties in the state at all?
No. This is our first one in Oklahoma. Well, again, what we're taking is the expertise of what Acrisure has on a national basis and bringing that to, and as you know, the ACO program has the majority of that. And there's, where we know there's some complaints within that program, we viewed it as a window of opportunity to show you an alternative. When we get done, the ACO program, you can say, guess what, based on either pricing or form, we're gonna stay right where it is, but unless we gather the information to bid it, we'll have no ability to tell you whether we can do a better job for you other than knowing that what Acrisure has done on a national basis.
Richard, can you kind of go into a little bit of the idea of the county being its own self-insured through this Lloyd's?
Absolutely. What Marvin and I had talked about was the idea that you are of a size that it's worth considering your own pool versus sharing in everybody else's ugly loss history. If you guys are doing a good job in controlling what you are, we should pool or reserve sinking fund for what's predictable. We should only be buying coverage for what's unpredictable. And that's what Mike and his people do, is help put the actuarial assumptions together to make it where there's no reason to give the 35 to 40% profit to an insurance company on what's predictable. We only put that into the things that really are the more catastrophic in nature.
One of the things that you and I discussed was the county's ability to manage loss, and David here is our safety officer for the county, and he's one of the guys that really helps us out going around to each of the road districts, and we have safety briefings and meetings and that sort of stuff, and so we're kind of a little bit proactive in that part as well.
And the conversation you and I had is that's exactly what Lloyd's is gonna want to see, is you're willing to put some money in the game, some commitment into the program by hiring the right people, putting the right processes in place, instead of dealing it within a reactive basis, is after a loss, how do we deal with it? It's we know where the losses are going to come from. Why don't we put together a program that makes it more proactive up front, reserved for the things we know we can write checks for, buy insurance for the things that it would hurt us if we didn't have insurance.
So what kind of data do you need from us to get this cost, man?
The same old stuff that everybody hates, the 5 years minimum, and the more loss history you have, the more accurate our predictions can be. But I need a minimum of 5 year of loss history by line of business. So here's my auto history, here's my workman's comp history, here's my property history, each of those by line. And again, if you have 10 years, that really helps. But anything less than 5, you'll find that the actuary will put a cushion in there as not being actuarially sound. So the more data you can give us to put into that helps. List of vehicles, hiring practices, and we'll give you a full database and make it very easy and help any way we can with gathering it. But the more accurate, again, you give us, the more accurate we can be in prediction of we should use a $50,000 or $250,000 self-insured retention. Your past history will help us come up with good predictions for you.
guess we can get that pretty easy from Matco.
Ought to be able to. Certainly for the last 10 years even, I would think.
The number and types of vehicles and that sort of stuff,
Yeah,
we have a list of all that stuff here, so
we've got that.
And not to throw Troy under the bus, but our county clerk, she maintains a lot of that stuff for us as well.
Well, and again, we know that's a moving target, but if we say this is the list as of May 1, and I'm using that as an example, we'll use that. We could adjust it up or down, but more than anything else, the loss history is just as, or even more important than the accurate equipment list. Keeping the vehicle list separate from the vehicle list is important. The equipment, a lot of people, a lot of companies that we deal with, when you get to the same size as you are, sometimes it's listed as an equipment list and they have the vehicles on the same list as the licensed vehicles. It's very important to separate. We can do that, don't worry about it. But if you have it in two lists, it makes our job easier because we have to deal with the vehicles. The serial number will give us in today's replacement costs, but then the modifications, does it have a dump truck on it? Does it have a Tommy lift? Does it have things that change the values on those so that we end up with a good, accurate estimate of what a tornado comes through and levels your maintenance shed, what's it gonna cost to put it back? Make sense?
I'd like to clarify something. When you say vehicle, are you meaning just license registration, or would you consider the graders and the bulldozers and the other stuff separate from?
Anything that's a licensed registration in one list, anything that is equipment list, in other words, not registered, is separate. If you have it on one, don't worry, we'll separate it. But for our bidding purposes and from a loss history standpoint, there's obviously a greater exposure for the public licensed equipment than there is the equipment.
And we can send an application, it'll be broken down by coverage sections. So when you get into the law enforcement liability, it'll have some questions about that. Want to know how many police officers, what's going on at the jail, just to help us with the underwriting.
Your package would include defense of lawsuit?
Yes, of course. Not only defense, but if negligent, the liability, and obviously you've got some statutory limitations within part of it that we deal with, and then some of the federal regulations on the other side.
Yeah, and London is familiar. This program actually reinsures OMAC, and we've been involved with that Charlie has for nearly 30 years. So they're familiar with the Oklahoma tort claims and the cap on that, and that will definitely be considered when we underwrite.
Well, I think the OMAC, handling OMAC for 30 years is a good history of why. I think that's something that you'll be wanting to make a phone call on. From a bidding standpoint, what we're trying to do today is make you comfortable with why you should at least consider an alternative. If the answer is we're very happy with what we want, we don't need it, we respect that. And when we get done, when we show you the alternatives, if the decision is we're going to leave it where it is, most of the ones that I move to a captive mentality, the biggest struggle I have is getting people to think outside of a pure insurance mentality. And you already have that education already. So that helps a lot.
Well, I can sure give you the data from my district.
Certainly. I'd certainly like to see those figures. You see any action needed on this?
The only reason I put action on there is if someone thought it was necessary in order to provide them with information or to task, someone to help and that sort of thing. I'm not sure that's absolutely necessary, but I think what I would propose is that we move forward and provide these gentlemen the information they've asked for and see what we get back.
Don't cost nothing to shout.
That's right.
No, and we would not be wasting our time with it if we didn't think we could do a good job for you. I mean, we know there's some discomfort within the county commissioners. We know this is exactly the reason that I wanted the opportunity to at least get in front of you And I think you'll be pleased with the alternatives.
I think you find that Logan County is not afraid to step out and be the first one to do something a little bit different.
And they're done that. Been first ones.
So we need to do an application or something, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Would that go to you for?
If you'd like to
completing?
send me all your information and then I can get it distributed to them.
Okay, you tell us what works best for you, most like an electronic.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
Do you have a card with your email on it? I don't have any of mine with me. I can email you so you'll have mine and
Yes, ma'am.
we'll do that. Thank you.
So how long would it take you to get this put together after you get information?
Well, if we get everything, a couple weeks, probably.
The same as getting the bridge fixed. I'm teasing. My only reason for saying that is, as you know, so much of it is we open up a door, it's not any different than you thinking it's gonna cost $1 million to fix the bridge, and when you get it torn apart, you end up with a different soil and things to go with it. We are relying with giving as much data as possible. So as good as your information is, the faster we can turn it around. And the reason I couch that is normally when we submit that, there's another list of questions. It's just very natural, the same as repairing that bridge. As soon as you find out, whoops, that soil's a little different, I better get an engineer involved, we'll end up coming back with you with some additional questions. And I don't mean to couch it any other different. Our goal will be to turn it around as quick as possibly. I think you have a July 1 renewal date. With that said, my goal would be to have you everything by June 1 so that you'd be in an intelligent position. So the idea of our goal to have it to you by June 1, yes. How quick you get it back and how complete it is will have a lot to do with it.
There's a few variables you're saying.
Yes, sir. That are not within our control, and I try to use the bridges and the analogy the same way.
But yeah, and we'll be working together locally where we can underwrite some of it in-house, which will help, and we'll fast track it and do our best, for sure.
We'll try to get the applicant, as soon as you give me the email, we'll get you the application and tell you the priorities on that. We have to have, if it's not applicable, NA. Please, that's the part, leaving a question open, we almost instantly get an answer. Well, what about question 13? They didn't answer it. So it's very important if it's not applicable. Let's say you didn't have a jail. We just on that section, not applicable, not completed. But every other part of it, the more detailed, the more supplements, the more I can get from a safety and engineering of the things that you're doing in advance is very, very important. That's comfort level. Put yourself in their position. You see the pictures, you see all the positive things that you've done. The other one is in your claim history. If you had a bad claim, it happens. What have we done to change it? All right. In other words, we now require that our people pull over when their phone rings. They can't answer it. I'm making this up because we're seeing more and more activity on where they end up. Somebody looks down at their phone or takes the French fries out from the middle of their lap to pick up off the floor and end up with a bad accident crossing the yellow line. So any bad claims, anything that you have done or could do to mitigate those going forward, those will also help us.
He just described one of our accidents.
No,
Just dropping a cell phone.
it's every, by the way, Dobson Cellular has been a client of mine for years. And when I first sent the deal out, said that I needed to have it where if the phone rings that they had to drive over, they said that Dick, you understand we're in the cellular business. I said yes, and I understand the limit on your umbrella, and I'm suggesting from a risk management standpoint that we forget what business we're in and deal more importantly with how do we keep those people alive. And it can happen to anybody, and so much of it is really your policies and procedures and actions and reactions on what do we do post-claim. I hope that helps.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Horton, Mr. Stone, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Thank
We'll
you.
get out here and let you get back to
Appreciate
the
it very
rest of your
much.
business.
We do.
Yeah, I would say if you have any more questions after flipping through this, just let us know.
Mm-hmm.
That'll give you a better idea, but we'll keep moving forward.
That's all I had.
Okay. Yeah, there's a little info. Our safety and school comes
Thank you, sir. I'll tell somebody I'll be there in 15 minutes, and 30 minutes later, I'm there because I'm gonna have to pull over the side of the road again.
And you can say that Dick Horton said it was a good idea, and I'll go ahead and back you up. So-
Yeah, well, my wife is the one that says it's a good idea.
That's even a better one for sure.
Yes, that's where I get direction in my life, you bet. It is.
Thank you very much.
She is
Guys, thank you.
my lady. Thank you so very much.
Look forward to it.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
You bet. All right, moving on to item 6. Consideration and possible action on accepting bi-monthly report of David Ball, Emergency Manager Director.
The last couple of months.
Tornado Summit. I didn't see you around my tornado, man.
One on the sides.
You're fine. You ever figure out a cause of the fire there at Pine and Seward?
No, not that I know, not that I've heard of. Did not.
I'll make a motion to approve David Ball's bi-monthly report.
Second.
David, thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, David. Really appreciate everything you did. He was here for that tornado, was poised at the button, ready to make those sirens hit. Fortunately, he didn't have to. Item 7, consideration and possible action on approving DEQ permit for Air Curtain incinerator.
What do you got us into now?
Oh, I gotta have a permit. Burn them dang trees, don't get me rolling on that.
Man.
It's at my location, the permit is. Should I sign it or should the chairman sign it? I guess that's my question.
Who do you want to go to jail if we do something wrong, I guess?
Mike, you need
Oh.
to sign that.
Golly gee.
You need to sign that.
I'll sign it with your name. How's that work?
Hey, y'all heard it.
I think that's forgery, but yeah, knock yourself out.
All the way,
I am.
all the way
I'm waiting for a ruling.
Well, I gotta have the
So this-
permit, and part of that grant money is gonna pay for the air curtain and the grant. DEQ's gonna give me a grant to pay them for air curtain and a permit.
And the permit. So this is all being paid for by the state.
Okay, so where the signature is required, and it has been filled in for Mike to sign as chairman, what it reads, so you all figure out which way you want this to go. I understand that I am responsible for assuring construction and operation, those are the 2 key words that send me to Monty, of the above facility in accordance with this application. The terms of the general permit for this source category and AOC 25. I certify based on information and belief formed after reasonable inquiry, the statements and information in the document are true, accurate, and complete. Now y'all figure out who should sign it.
Mike,
So do I need to come out there and inspect that first, make
Sure.
sure you're doing your job right?
Sure. You're
Before I go
responsible.
putting my name on this sucker?
Yeah. Just sign it.
Okay.
So, Bonnie, on the licensing, I guess, it amazes me, and I'm not picking on what we gotta do, because I know we don't have a lot of options here, right? But, you know, the first thing was it was $1,000 for a permit. Now I understand we're up to $1,800 for permitting, licensing, and all that. What was the other $800? What are they charging us for? Do you remember?
I think it's a 5-year permit instead of a year permit.
Okay.
But, I don't know. I don't understand how come we gotta fill out a grant paper to get money from them to pay them. Just,
Apparently they can't do it on their own, because that would be like the self-licking ice cream cone thing.
Actually, if you look at this page in the permit, it tells you why that money. Authorization to construct is $900, authorization to operate is $900. So based on that, I would assume then the first $900 to construct would be a one-time because you're only gonna construct it once.
So we gotta pay the $900 to dig a hole in the ground.
That's what this indicates.
It's interesting.
But they're gonna give us 900 to pay on that.
Well, I like it. Well, they like it more than we do.
Yeah. Well, our hands are kinda tied, so I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Did I hear an aye from you there, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess
Everybody
I'll
said
say
it.
aye as well. Motion approved.
It's kinda difficult to second it and then not vote aye on it.
If I go Jill, Monty, I'm expecting you to visit me and
We'll send you stamps.
bring me stuff.
Who's we?
Second.
Oh, you'll be all right. They'll like you.
Yeah.
Maybe Craig will let you be trustee.
There you go.
Done deal.
If you become a good trustee, we'll let you in the courthouse with a mop.
Ah! You guys are too kind.
Let's not get carried away now.
Hey, that is one thing that we've done that worked out really well and has
Yeah.
saved the county a lot of money.
Yes,
That's true.
that's true. That's different from when I came into office by quite a sight. But it really works out. Moving on to item number 8, consideration and possible action on approving professional services agreement between the Logan County Health Department and Richard Forbes as the Assistant Coordinator for Local Emergency Response for fiscal year 16. This was tabled from April the 15th.
Chairman, it was tabled, I believe, at my request, and I've since talked with Troy about that. And my understanding is this is on an as-needed basis, is that what you?
The email's here and I should have just sent it to all three, but my brain wasn't functioning. I printed it out from Jay Smith, who explains that this is no more than 8 hours a month for preparedness operation. And then in the event of an emergency, of course, there'd be more time involved, but they have to have this person contracted for emergency preparedness.
I so move we approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. This one on that
This next
is.
one.
Yours, Shelley?
Yeah. Number 9.
Number 9, consideration possible action on approving agreement with Hewitt Zollers, Inc. to provide bid services for a bridge over Bridge Creek, circle number 23, 1 mile south of State Highway 51, 0.2 miles south on East-West 63 and District number 3.
This is another FEMA project. I just need to get it moving forward so we can get a new bridge and get reimbursed.
You bring papers. You have the original signatures. That's why I couldn't use
So
them.
FEMA's gonna pay for most
It's
of
all right, I
it?
can get them.
Okay.
I mean, I can go run over and get them.
I just
What
did
you
another
sent
one
me
here a couple
doesn't have
months
the original
ago.
signatures.
I just had,
That's why I was
get the ball
handing it
rolling
to you,
on
I
this.
didn't bring the original signature one.
All right. Well, I move we approve item 9.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye. And Jeffrey, I guess when you get the document, we'll sign it.
I can go print it out and bring it back over.
Item 10, consideration possible action on approving interlocal agreement with the town of Crescent for repairs to Mulberry Street and the community center track.
We're gonna help the city of Crescent do a little project. They asked us to come and lay a little asphalt for
I
them.
have,
They're gonna pay for the material and we're gonna do the labor on it. And I thought I better do an interlocal agreement just
I just hate for them to put an original signature on
That
it.
makes sense.
so you know where we're at.
They And
Well, I have
knowing
this-
the town of Crescent, they don't have really a street maintenance department to do that kind of work, so.
They just don't have the equipment that we got.
Right.
They don't just-
I'm with you. All right.
What's their population now?
Oh, I think Crescent's around
2,000.
Yeah, maybe 2,000.
Yeah.
I move we approve item 10.
I'll second.
Back to item 9, gentlemen, I do have a copy of the contract here that we're gonna go ahead and use, and then I'll make Jeffrey copies that he needs.
Motion carries.
Did we vote on
Oh, I thought you, oh, okay, all those in favor? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Two copies. Is this the one we're gonna sign?
Yeah, and then I'll make him copies.
I think you missed one on.
3 of them, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Good. Item 11, consideration and possible action on approving interlocal agreement with Kingfisher County whereby Logan County and Kingfisher County will work together for the maintenance of certain roads that lie on the Kingfisher and Logan County line.
So you can tell you got about 2/3 of that county line, and I only got about 1/3 of it. What do we want to do there?
Well, this is just a mile over there off Pixie Road. We was gonna split the cost on repairing it. He's got 50% of the people there and I got the other 50%. And we just need to get the road fixed. So we come to an agreement to fix it and split the cost.
Is this agreement for that mile or for the whole?
It is for, have we listed, Sean?
What you sent over here that Kingfisher did, this is more like just a specific, just a general agreement to work together to maintain the roads. If you look at what they put together, that does not specify the project.
Okay.
So much like we did with Oklahoma County, where we have the
We
general.
had two, a general, yeah.
And now we need to come back and do a specific. Are they running a specific through their side?
I don't think so, this is it.
Interesting.
So,
Because that's not project specific.
so
Right.
it'd be any county line that we share.
So I guess, just kind of that, to ask the question, if we don't put it in writing with them, how do we enforce the 50/50 split that we've done? You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
But I understand the general agreement, for sure. And-
I,
The two-part
So-
deal.
And
needs to be a specific.
I certainly,
agreement for the intersection.
would move that we do the interlocal, the general, today, and maybe,
Okay. Well, we'll just write up another agreement for that particular site.
Yeah. When I read through this, because I wanted to make sure whether, and though it's much smaller than what Oklahoma County put together, it's basically that general, and then we need to do the specific.
I also move we approve the general agreement with Kingfisher County.
I'll go ahead and second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 12, consideration possible action on approving resolution accepting donation of one 2007 Ford Crown Victoria Patrol Unit, VIN ending 135661 from Mark Steele to the Sheriff's Office.
I'll move we approve.
Never saw the car.
Yeah, just really quick, Craig, is there, you say it's all, I mean, it's low mileage, the county's not gonna be putting a lot of money into bringing it up to?
No.
Okay. Okay, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 13, consideration possible action approving resolution accepting $1,192 donation from Mark Warenberg to District Number 2 for culverts to be placed on Huckleberry Road. This is one of the roads that we help them maintain. So I make the motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 14, consideration possible action on approving agreement with Michael Majors, allowing District Number 1 to enter the Majors property for the purpose of clearing debris from county right-of-way.
Chairman, if I could, this is over on Coltrane Road. And what we're having to do is go back and clean up the areas that the ODOT contract left in a mess over there. They've refused to enforce their own contract requirements for the subcontractors that went in and cleared that right of way. They've just left a mess over there. And they refuse to do anything else until we get into the construction phase, which probably isn't gonna happen for another 2 years. So they basically have put that back on the county for us to do that ourselves, which adds to the cost and takes away from our operational abilities on other areas. So what the gentleman's allowed us to do is to take those stumps out and clear that right of way in front of his property and put the debris on his property back. And that's what that's for.
And then he's going to dispose of it, I guess, or?
I don't care what he does with it, he wants it, he said we can put it on his property.
I see.
I have no problem with it.
I have no problem.
I'll move.
All right, I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. Item 15, consideration possible action for the agreement with the National Insurance Crime Bureau, accepting the lease of a 2008 Polaris Ranger to be used by the Sheriff's Office.
Greg, you gonna be using that over on the four-wheel training area over there at the
That
fairgrounds?
hasn't been discussed yet. It's part of a crime prevention program that we're putting together. But if they need that's a good idea. If they ask for it, we'll sure go see
I
it.
just thought it was a good fit when I saw this on the agenda.
That particular topic is kind of near and dear to me too, so
Yeah.
good call.
Read that.
So how are you gonna use this?
It's part of a crime prevention program that we're
To
putting
prevent
together.
crime. Okay.
Paint vehicle, I like it. I move we approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 16, consideration possible action approving detention transportation claim for March 2016 in the amount of $1,948.28.
Sign that.
This is just the standard,
Standard.
The monthly
Yeah.
reimbursement.
I move we approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye, motion carries.
Chairman, I have nothing for 17 and 18.
That's nice.
We have a consent agenda.
Item 19, consideration possible action on consent.
Payroll.
People want to get paid, I imagine.
Yeah. Seems to be a pretty hot item.
Yeah.
Especially when it falls on a Friday, that just adds another level to it. On these transfers, I want to explain before I send them down there. The fire department share radio repeater with everything. Guthrie kind of oversees them and maintains them. There needed to be repairs on the radio repeater. Guthrie fronted it up. These transfers are from the other departments for their share of the repeater cost. So that's why they're going from one department to another.
So is it the same amount straight across the board?
860 each, $860.04 in each of the fire departments.
We don't have all of them in here yet. Those were the ones that got them
So
in
far,
here, so we'll
huh?
have some more coming.
I like how they got down to the 4 cents.
Yeah, that is interesting. Did you make a motion?
It's on the consent
Oh,
agenda.
it's just a consent, I'm sorry, yes, you're right.
Checks accepted.
All right. Let's see.
Chris, are we gonna get baseball in tonight? If it doesn't rain, we're on it for sure, but.
Who made that rule that you can't play baseball in the rain?
We did
Rain's
that right after
okay.
they brought out aluminum bats.
Well, the thunder and lightning, I can understand. I mean, you don't want to play football during that time either, but we always just play football in the rain when.
Yeah, I remember those days myself.
What? What's wrong with the aluminum bat? I mean, you got gloves on, you're insulated, you got, you're.
We didn't have better gloves in my.
Save it for the judge. So worried about electricity.
That's the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then. Shawnee put their tarp down, so if it's too late here, we'll go to Shawnee.
Bulldozer check in
It will be
here.
the home team.
Should be. They went through in the last stack, but it got deposited.
Okay, good. Those folks at Acton, I thought I was being a little bit pushy wanting my money.
Well,
5,000 emergency management grant.
maybe they're gonna keep it and buy more pocket knives.
Blankets.
Well, either that or divvy more of it up to the CEDs. Pocket knives.
In that meeting the other day, did I understand that right, that we're wanting to shift some of the money back to the CED district so they won't be considered a public entity and they won't have to answer to the state auditor?
You know, I'm not sure what their logic was there because very little of what comes out of those meetings has anything to do with logic. So I don't know, man.
That's the way I kind of took it. Can I have that, Mike?
Trying not to snuff a little, so there you go.
I think they should shift that stuff back down to the counties.
Directly.
They're so worried about somebody not doing the right thing. My charge back to them was, well, don't punish all the rest of the counties that want to do it the right way for a few that don't. And the ones that don't, you know, there's a special place for them. It's called McAllister.
There you go.
Put them in jail.
Well, they keep talking about ODOT, wants us to hurry and put the money back on the roads and ODOT ties their hands so we can't put the money back on the roads.
And then our
Yeah.
legislatures look at all that money sitting there in that pool
Oh, they don't need it.
that's not allocated by ODOT, and then the legislature says, well, they don't need it, it's not allocated, it's been there over 5 years, pull it. That's how we lose $150 million this year.
And that's why I say if they would split that money by 77 and let the counties do what they need to do,
There you go.
we wouldn't have been sitting in that meeting.
That's fact. And our roads and bridges would be in a lot better shape today than they are.
They could just disappear.
Because we can do projects about the 10th of the cost of when we get ODOT and the feds involved in it. And that's according to professional engineering standards. I'm not talking about just winging it. Although we do that
It's
too.
an old argument,
Well, I'm an old guy.
and it continues, and they still don't get it.
The challenge we have is when it's presented again, to have enough county commissioners with the backbone and stones to stand up and say, yeah, we want to do that. Rather than to cave into what ACO wants. ACO doesn't want us to have our money. They say that, but they don't really, because it takes them out of the loop too.
Well, that's the argument I took up there at the Capitol. I've been up there numerous times saying exactly that. They go directly to the counties.
I think it's ACO's where that word needs to be spread, not at the Capitol.
You know, ACO needs its board replaced, no question about that.
I thought the attendance at the CED meetings has kind of dropped off after the lunch thing dropped off.
Yeah, no more free lunch. It's amazing how that works.
Monthly election board. It's just yours.
Well, I'm gonna have an out of compliance PO. I'm just gonna get you ready for that.
Say it again, Mike?
What was it? Election board.
No. I understand it. Well, I'm kind of used to having them myself.
Somehow, we missed Eureka Water. And we got invoiced before PO again.
Sure is bright yellow.
It is that.
Court fund utilities. Alcoholic beverage tax.
So, did it increase?
I think it increased over last month, but it's been down as well.
Sundays are officially drinking days, right?
It was effective.
Since I had tonsillitis.
Don't share it.
Not trying.
Start breathing that way.
I'm trying not to.
Sweet Aaron throwing.
Now's a fine time after an hour of sitting here, you.
You do know
I
that
took the antibiotics.
contagious.
How long ago?
I did a whole 10 days.
Okay, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Went to
Never
the
mind.
doctor yesterday.
You know everybody's there. You do know that is contagious, don't you?
Tonsillitis?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Any kind of
itis.
inflammation that I have. Well, I've been,
Over there.
Mark, we need to trade seats.
Start putting a box of masks in here or something.
You know, the law does allow teleconferencing of one individual, as long as the majority's here.
I didn't see that.
Doesn't allow them to vote though. And it has to be published as a public location.
Right.
Did you learn something?
Yeah, I did. 49 minutes in.
So they can't stay home and teleconference it in unless they want their home posted as a public meeting location.
See, Listen, just can't vote.
Well, the way that's designed is so you can have like a town hall meeting and with one public official there and, you know,
Yeah.
and kind of spread that out a little bit.
That's for all government, county, city, state, you know.
That's open record.
Open record.
Open
Open
meeting,
meeting.
yeah.
Open
Open
meeting.
meeting.
Gotcha. There are a lot of rules to the Open Meeting Act. And is it
No, there's only,
It's really not that
not
much.
that bad?
You don't have a copy of the book?
there's a book.
OPA make,
Mhm.
issues an annual book, and it's both the open meeting and open records, and all of the AG's opinions and the statutes, just directed to those two things.
Chris, it's like anything else.
To
There's
go
not a
back
whole
press.
lot to it, but it's a lot, it's a whole bunch of it's open-ended.
Right.
You know.
I think the book is
Troy,
20
this
bucks.
alcohol beverage tax, was that for 1 month?
Mhm.
So the tax on alcohol in Logan County was $10,934.02.
Technically, the tax that falls in the jurisdiction to be collected, because that does not include the unincorporated areas of Logan County, that's just municipalities.
So the unincorporated portion, does that come to us? or
We
have
don't
anything
have
to
an
do?
able tax in the county.
Wow.
That's why the pump jack lacks it too. There, them kind of places.
Where?
Where? Any little bar joint that's not in a city limit, out in
Like
incorporated,
out by Woodcrest?
they don't
Oh,
pay, they don't pay.
Lazy E.
Lazy E.
Lazy E.
Anything down there on Waterloo.
All these wineries. I have several wineries in my district.
But out of that $10,934, $7,543 came from Guthrie.
That's a long month.
I'm slacking already.
It's a slope.
It's town and all that.
Are we
That
done?
completes
I'll make a
consent.
motion to approve the
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item 20. Consideration possible action on approving claims. Good. For April 2016.
What was the problem? Pearson had tonsillitis, and so the numbers are down.
Yeah, well,
10 days worth.
I need some of that good old alcohol there. Increase that income.
We're gonna be out of compliance on the sand that we got for the courthouse as well. She made it for fill sand, they use concrete sand, so the price is a little bit different. And just heads up, it's coming.
We had a tire, they quoted us and it was considerably more. Guys drinking a lot of water over in District 1.
We're on city water.
It says enough, doesn't it?
Well, that's Eureka then.
But in the rural water district.
Yeah, rural water district water's a lot better. You can't use it to color eggs with, like you can Guthrie, yeah. You don't
Yellow
need any,
eggs. Yellow
yeah,
eggs.
you don't need any
Yeah.
coloring to color eggs and, yeah. Guthrie water.
I was just looking at that Eureka water, so I just assumed, I guess. Wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's, was his point, that's why they drink so much water.
I don't know.
Yeah, we did a cost comparison, how much would it cost to buy filters versus buy water? And we figured out it's gonna cost us more to filter the water than it would buy. Have to change filters every other day.
think you're running off with that pen either.
I know where.
I do too. I
You
fight
done?
for my pens.
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the claim.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 21, any citizen desiring to be heard? Not hearing any citizen. Item 22, comments, announcements, questions by the Board of County Commissioners.
Chairman, I've got a couple of items. The first one I've already shared with Monty this morning. I just got this email in from a citizen over in District 2 wanting to talk about the buried power lines that are going to be coming through our county. And this person owns just a bit of property, and he seems to be concerned that this electric line is going to take 150 foot right of way off of his property, which would basically make his property useless as far as frontage. And I thought we might want to look at this and then maybe bring this back to the board for discussion under open meeting.
I mean, to make it clear, he lives in Crescent, but I think he's talking about he's in District 2 Rural Water Department.
That'd be District
Rural Water District?
It's two. Yeah, Crescent's
So-
District 2.
Oh, okay.
Well, Crescent kind of splits 2 and 3 together, so.
So, he's, yeah, he is in District Number 2. That's the Rural Water District, District 2.
But on that, I mean, can we really stop a power line from coming through if they get easements, you know, and?
On private property off of our easement. And they get the easements there for power lines. I don't see that we have any
I don't know
jurisdiction there.
What kind of jurisdiction we would have? Do y'all got any?
I don't think so, because I don't think it's gonna be any different than some of the pipelines that come through.
Yeah, I think it's a corporation commission issue, right? But still, as far as the Board of Commissioners, doesn't mean that we can't
Voice our
take offense to it, right?
Sure.
And so we don't believe it's right to just do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my one item there. And then the other is just to pass along to Monty, since he wasn't there. These are all the notes from the Association of Central Oklahoma Government meeting that we went to yesterday. Not a whole lot happened there, other than we did pass a resolution of non-support for the 1 cent sales tax for higher education, the Bourne sales tax. I was real proud that the Association of Central Oklahoma Governments took that tack.
So they're opposing it, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, most all of them are municipalities. This takes away their ability to raise funds there by upping the sales tax for the entire state. That's basically their benefit, and yes, they're adamantly opposed to it.
Well, I mean, a statewide sales tax for quote-unquote education, it'd be okay if that money actually went to education. But what ends up happening, like the lotteries and all the other things, if they say, well, all this is going to go to education, by the time you get the overhead in and all the other bleed-offs that happen to that stuff, very little of that money actually goes toward the children and
It
education.
is diverted, and they're very, very good at doing that.
So that's all I have.
Very good. I have one item in that the Central Oklahoma workforce is made up of 4 counties, and we are about to do a merger with East Central Workforce. Those are 5 counties and make it into one, a grand total of 9 counties. So we're going to pool our resources with various and sundry factors that are in play here. Why we feel like that would be to everybody's benefit.
Does it have any financial or regulatory restrictions on the county to do that? Is there any impact there?
No, sir. This is all federal and state funded.
I got a deal for 23. It's a
Ah.
motion.
Would you
I'll
please
second.
make that deal? Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
We've done and did it.